Hey, so I've been cranking on this product process kit for quite a while, and especially this month, I'm really trying to ship new features every single week. From idea to design to development to code and shipping live. Trying to keep that ball rolling every single week right now. So what I thought I would do in this video is kind of walk through my personal workflow for shipping a feature in the app from start to finish, every step that I go through. Obviously, this will be very different for every person or every team. In my case, I am a one-man show on this product right now. I'm doing it all, from the design, the development, the marketing, all the things. I thought I would just kind of walk through what that looks like in my day-to-day, because this is basically what every day is looking like for me right now here in July 2019. Usually it starts obviously in the live app, although I'm actually looking at a development version of the app right now. And I have a general sense of what the product roadmap should look like, but I'm very much in touch with users. So I've already started inviting users and some customers to the app, but I also have a list and some groups where I get feedback from people. And so just to kind of show you what that looks like, I have a private Facebook group where I sometimes post questions and videos of new features. And then I also have a Slack group. Both of these are for Process Kit specifically. Basically, when people sign up for the early access list, they fill out a survey, and then I invite them to either of these groups. So I created both so that some people like Slack, some people like Facebook. So that's where the conversations largely happen, although I also email with folks and then I hop on calls with them, at least one or two of those a week right now. And that is what then informs this. So this is my product board, or the product roadmap board, if you will. This is all inside GitHub. So this is the GitHub repo for Process Kit, but you'll see this additional tab here called ZenHub. That is a product, I think, is it zenhub.com? Let me see. It might be something. Yeah, it's zenhub.com. It actually used to be a paid thing. I used to pay for it, and then they went to a freemium plan. So now my use of it is free. So I really like this because it plugs right into GitHub. So let me go back. It's a Chrome extension that then adds this additional tab, and then it gives you this like board view. And these are all GitHub issues. So, but it just kind of organizes them into this nice Kanban board. So I really like that for software product development. And the way that I organized this is, it's kind of rough, and it has ZenHub has a lot of features that I'm not really using, but basically I created a column called top priority, a column called soonish, a column called someday, and then I've got a couple of bugs as they crop up. And when I get customer requests, I kind of drop them in here so that I don't forget about them. I probably need to do a better job of that because I've had more requests. I just haven't gotten around to writing them up into issues. Right now, my main focus is on these two lists. The top priority, this is what I've been knocking through for the past week. There were 2 or 3 more issues here that I've already shipped, and once I finish them, they get dropped into the closed. So like the 2 that I just finished this week and last week were project level permissions and archiving projects. What I'm working on right now is this one. I called the issue people pages, but basically it's here, I'll just show you. So if you're in the app and you go to the people section, you can go to a person, and now I can see all of the projects that this person is a member of, and I can see the tasks that this person has. Go to a better one. If I could look at this user, that user's tasks, I can sort them by due date, sort them by start date. The person can check them off right from here, or they can, click into them to go to the project that step or that task was on. So this is all new. This is actually not launched right now. I'm currently building this. Actually, almost finished with building this out. And then there's also going to be an activity page, which I have not even touched yet. So I need to work on that. So all of that, like this person's view, the ability to see yourself and for administrators to see other users. All of that I basically spec'd out in this long to-do list, if you will. And as you can see, I checked off most of it because I'm almost done, but then there are a few pieces that I haven't really tackled yet. And the way that this usually comes together is it usually starts much shorter than this. And then as I start working on it, I start adding things to the list because you start to uncover little technical details that like, oh, I can't forget to do that piece. And oh, now I'm working on this. And I just realized there's a whole other rabbit hole that I'm going to need to build. So, that's kind of how software development tends to work. Now, let me hop out of this and step back for a second. The way that I'm separating this is top priorities are the things that I think just need to be built. I'm hearing objections from customers that they can't use the app unless I get those things built. The soonish list are things that I definitely want to build very soon, but they're not as high priority as these like essential functionality that I still need to build. These features I think are a little bit more like competitive features, like they add like power features and things that I can go and market and sell and say, hey, this tool is better than these other tools because it does these really cool things. That's a lot of that is in this list, and that's basically coming next. Someday are things that I also plan to do, but they're not as high priority. I could probably get to them like later in the year, something like that. And bugs are things that I'll hopefully get to at some point. So yeah, let me open up this one. This is custom fields. This is something that I get a lot of requests for. I'm going to be adding custom fields to projects. And I did start to write out some notes, and usually it begins like this. Like I'm writing out, just some rough ideas on where custom fields fit or where this feature fits into the larger product, why somebody would use it, what are some of the configurations and options that somebody would need to use it for, and things like that. So I started to jot down these notes. I usually write these like in advance of me actually starting to work on it. I don't always get this detailed with it. I mean, most of these other ones are, let me see. This one is also sort of detailed. Like at some point a few weeks ago, I was spending time thinking about these features and looking at the app and figuring out where they fit. But some of them are like nothing. Some of them are just the title of the feature. And I kind of know what that is, but I haven't spec'd anything out yet. So as you can see, things are in varying levels of development and thinking through at this stage. Once I start to make it a top priority and I'm working on it this week, that's where I get a lot more specific about my hit list of things that I need to build into the app. And sometimes I'll include like technical details. Sometimes, let me see, like this one that I just shipped a few days ago. What I also sometimes do is if I had a conversation with a customer about this feature, like when they were requesting this feature, I might link to that email conversation so that I can come back to that person and let them know like, hey, that conversation we had about that feature, yeah, now it's shipped, or I'll go back to that conversation and read up on the details that we talked about just to make sure that I'm building it in the way that we had discussed. So that's very important. Once I spec it out and fill this out with my to-do list, then I will actually get into the app and start designing. These days, I mean, a lot of the structure and the design and look and feel and the UI are built. So I usually just go straight into that, and I can basically go straight into code and start to, build out the features where I think that they fit in. But in some cases, if it's like, if it's really reworking a whole layout of a page, maybe before hopping into the code, I'll go into Balsamiq and just kind of lay out what the new layout is gonna be. Like, so a few weeks ago, I think I did a video about this. A few weeks ago, I redesigned the single project layout. It used to be like this one long layout with all the details in it, and then I switched to this tabbed view. And so I wanted to get like a visual sense of how this could work from a UI standpoint before I started reworking big chunks of HTML and CSS and Rails code. But ultimately, this feature did ship, and that looks like this now. So now, like when you go into a single project, you've got this tabbed layout. So once I got that all spec'd out, I went into the code and I got it built. So then I spend about a week usually building a large feature like this. So coming back to my board here, this one that I've been working on, I started, I'm not sure why it says 11 days ago because I've been in here more recently than that. But basically, this list of to-dos I've been working through for the past 3 or 4 days. I probably have another 2 or 3 days of work to get through the rest of this. Every time I start a new feature, I switch to a different branch in Git and I work on it there. I'm not like a superhuman person who can work on multiple features at the same time. I just kind of focus on one thing, get it shipped and launched, and then I move on to the next thing. Once I finish getting through the whole list, that's when I get around to writing integration tests. And I've tried to get into like the test-driven development workflow where you write the tests first and then you write the code to satisfy those tests. Sometimes I do that, but for the most part, honestly, I don't. I build out the features and then I write tests to cover all those features. And so for those of you who are not familiar with integration tests, I'm just going to show them to you because it's actually kind of cool, I think, especially for me as a new developer, like having integration tests that automatically go through and test every feature in the app for you. I think that's incredible, to be honest. So I'm going to run my test suite right now, and we're going to actually just watch it run. Now I have it set to actually open up a Chrome browser, and you'll actually see. So this is actually pretty cool. You could actually see the robot like going through my app and testing out each individual feature. And it looks like we have some failures, which is expected because I'm kind of in the middle of building out some functionality. So like normally you would have this on like a setup to be headless where you actually don't see the browser, but in my case I am doing it where I can visually see, and sometimes I actually like that because I could literally see where things are being tested and where they're going wrong. But then of course here, if you're not familiar with writing software tests, basically every green dot means it tested a feature and it was successful, and the red Fs mean that there was a failure. And in this case, I am seeing a lot of failures. And again, that's just because I'm kind of in the middle of writing and changing a lot of code. So I'm going to have to go through, and when this is all done running, I'm going to see a list of all those failures. It's going to give me the names of the files of the code where I need to go in and fix. And so that's all set. So we could see here, I have 117 tests in my suite, and 19 of them failed. And so then if I scroll up, each of these is a test failure, and it looks like I have some like validation errors that I'm going to need to fix. That's because I did change some things in the database, so that was all sort of expected. But basically, in terms of my workflow here, once I finish building this feature, I'm going to make sure that this gets to a point where every one of these is green, and that is that's the thing that's like, yes, when you see that like 117 tests all green, awesome. So that means that everything is working, and the benefit of that is that I can keep building and launching new features without worrying about breaking other features that I've already built. Now, I still do a round of manual testing, and that's actually the next step in my process. So once I get these to be all green, then I merge it back into my master branch, and I will push it to my staging server, which is on Heroku. On Heroku, I have two totally separate apps. One is called Staging and one is called Production. Production is the live one that has real users and customers in it. Staging is everything almost exactly the same as Production. The only difference is it doesn't have real users. I'm the only one who touches that one. So I'll push it up to Heroku Staging at this point, and then I'll do additional testing in the browser, but now it's actually up on the Heroku infrastructure instead of my local development environment. The other thing that I do once it's up on Heroku is I will go test it out on my phone. Now, when I'm in development, I can test out like the responsive view just by using Chrome Dev Tools, you can go into like responsive mode and like look at it that way. The video, since I'm recording, it's making this kind of wonky. Sometimes it's a little bit different when you're on an actual phone. So that's where it helps to upload it to like your staging server, where I could actually go to a web address and hit it on my phone. So once that's all looking good, at that point, then I will push it live. I will push it to my production on Heroku. I'll test it all again, make sure that it's working in the app there. And then at that point, then it's a matter of getting this out to you, like letting users know that, hey, this feature is, maybe before I do that, I will go into my knowledge base. So this is the Process Kit knowledge base that I started building. This is powered by Help Scout. And I've started documenting all the features. So with every feature that I ship, I'll need to create probably a new article in one of these. I'm just kind of writing up the details on how the feature works. And sometimes I'm including like a little screenshot, sometimes a video. But at this early stage, I'm not doing a ton of images and videos because I think the app still might change a lot. And I don't want to have to go back and recreate all those images and videos, at least if it's mostly text. This one has a video too. But if it's mostly text and something changes, then I can go back and just kind of edit the text. That's easier. Down the road, once the product is more established, that's where I'll want to get this filled in with more visuals. But that's really important, is to have these all documented. The nice thing about Help Scout is that it has this nice searchable knowledge base, but this is also embedded in the app. So I have their beacon thing set up here down in the right corner, and you can go to docs and you can search all those same docs right in this widget while you're in the app, which is pretty cool. So once I get the thing documented and it's now in the live app, I've already pushed it live. Now I need to really tell people about it. So at that point, I do a few things. I will probably record a rough video of me just kind of talking and showing the new feature, and I'll post that video to those groups again. So as you can see, my last couple of posts were videos when I announced, hey, I just launched a new feature. So it's usually like 5 or 8 minutes or so of walking through exactly how that new feature works. And so existing users and people who are waiting for their invites can see these new features coming out in real time. I usually post the very same thing to my Slack group. And then the other thing that I'll do is I'll probably send out an email blast. It sort of depends on the feature. Sometimes if it's a really small feature, it doesn't warrant an email blast. But if it's sort of a major one, which right now I'm trying to send out a major one every single week, I will send an email. I'm currently using MailChimp for Process Kit. I'm probably not going to use MailChimp forever. I'll probably switch to something else at some point. But I am sending like a broadcast email to announce, hey, something changed in the app. This is what you want to. This is what you need to know about it. And I'm sending this to people who have signed up for free trials, are paying customers, or people that I have already sent an invite to. That way they can see the latest feature, and maybe they can go accept that invite if they haven't accepted it already. I'm not really sending these new features out to the rest of the list who have not received their invites yet. Maybe I should. I don't know. I probably should start announcing these features as they're coming out, even to people who haven't gotten their invites yet, so that to maybe like prime that pump a little bit. I don't know, kind of a judgment call there, I guess. But I'm also actively sending new invites every week too. So that's about it. I mean, at that point, I've announced it to the people, and I am starting to think about what's next on the roadmap. And that's the cycle from start to finish. You know, I'm trying to, again, go through that whole cycle about every 5 to 7 days or so. So I get something new coming out every week, keeping that momentum up on Process Kit. And yeah, I'm having a lot of fun doing this. I'm really enjoying this type of work. This deep, creative, technical work. That's my stuff. So if you have any questions or suggestions, I'd love to hear what your workflow looks like, where you would change things, how you do things differently. I'm still pretty new to this whole software development cycle. I've been creating websites for a long time, but not full apps like this. But this works for me. I try not to complicate it too much. And as a solo person, this is nice and easy. If I had a larger team, I would probably have like a marketing team and maybe a QA team and a development team, designers all kind of working in different parts of this process. But right now, it's kind of all me. So yeah, that is what it is. If you have any questions or feedback, let me know. Thanks for watching.